Welcome back to National Report Live. Look here at Gaza as we are watching and waiting for any signs of movement on a ceasefire. Somewhere in the rubble and ruins of the war zone is believed to be the body of a young American Israeli.
Omer Neutra, serving as a platoon commander in the Israel Defense Force. Initially, his family thought that he was abducted and held hostage by Hamas, but they soon learned that he was killed in the attack. His body was taken back to Gaza, and his remains are still believed to be somewhere inside the Palestinian territory.
Omer's parents now hoping for any kind of agreement in Israel, or at least one enough to bring Omer home to New York and bring some degree of closure to the family. His mother and father join us here. Onra and Ronen, welcome to you both, and thanks so much for coming on. I can't even imagine what this is like for you both. Orna, if I could start with you, talk to me about what runs through your mind as now we're facing the milestone 2 years since the October 7th attack.
It's hard to breathe. You know, we've been in this terrorist attack since October 7th. For us, it's one big blur. We wake up in the morning, we write the number on our chest. That kind of keeps us grounded. You know, that we're 2 years into this is just incomprehensible. We really hope that we're closer to the finish line than we ever were before.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand that we've been under a terror attack ourselves, the families that have hostages, without knowing what exactly happened, without having any proof, without having, even in our case, a body. We are up in the air. We are in limbo land. We are in a different universe. And we got to get our closure. We got to get our son back. And all the 48 families are just sitting extremely worried, extremely under pressure right now, hoping that President Trump's initiative is going to materialize in the next few days.
Yeah. President Trump has made that very clear, that he wants all the hostages back, and he wants that to be part of his 21-point peace plan here. But Ronen, you actually praised President Trump for his, quote, strong leadership. Do you agree with the strategy here that President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu have put forward here to try to get this deal done?
Well, without a doubt, what we've seen is bold leadership from President Trump. He has managed to bring together many of the Arab countries. He brought in Turkey, which is an important element. And all of this together is putting tremendous pressure on Hamas now to agree to a deal. And of course, the government in Israel, Netanyahu and his government now on board as well. And that's exactly what we were missing until this point, having everybody on board, the pressure on Hamas to finish and get the key to getting peace and stability in the Middle East by getting the 48 hostages back as a starting point. And we're hoping that this tipping point is we're just on the verge of it. We hope to see the deal coming through in the next few days.
Right. Yeah. The ability to just finally bury your son's body, which again is unimaginable. But the fact that you've been waiting at this point 2 years, it's just devastating. And for our viewers who might not be familiar with Omer's story, we understand he was raised just 30 miles east of our New York City studios in Plainview, Long Island, a robust Jewish community in that area. Orna, can you talk about what ultimately motivated him to travel to Israel, to defend and serve in the IDF?
So yes, Omer was actually born in New York City. We were living in the city at the time, a month before 9/11. I was very, very pregnant with him on 9/11. And I remember that, you know, we just couldn't believe that this was happening here on the United States soil, here in New York. And my only concern was to bring him home to safety, you know, my unborn child. Unfortunately, 22 years later, I could not protect him from the same, you know, fundamentalism and hate. Omer grew up in Plainview. It's a very, very warm community. He was very much part of this community. And it's a community that also has very strong ties with Israel. We have a very big family in Israel. Omer visited Israel a lot. He was supposed to go to Binghamton. He deferred his studies in Binghamton in favor of a gap year in Israel. During that year, he spent that gap year with Israeli kids. They have no choice. They are all mandated with military service. And Omer, being the leader that he was and the person that is always ready to do whatever is needed and a person of service, he just felt that he couldn't just go back to, to college without doing his share in protecting the Jewish state. He has grandparents that are Holocaust survivors. He grew up on the ethos that Israel needs to be able to protect itself. And he just heard the calling and felt that he had to do that, and he had to do his share.
Yeah. Since October 7th, we've seen a lot of outpouring of hate, anti-Semitism, and mainly on college campuses. Just a few months ago, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik of your home state grilled the presidents of several of these Ivy League colleges about these protests. I'll play that. Watch.
Ms. McGill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment, yes.
I am asking specifically calling for the genocide of Jews. Does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest question to answer yes, Ms. McGill. And Dr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
Targeted at an individual.
Calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
Again, it depends on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is why you should resign.
I still remember that powerful moment there. Want to get your thoughts, though. I mean, clearly we've seen this happen for the last 2 years on college campuses. Tell me, though, what is your message to these protesters that they go and support? It seems like they're supporting the terrorist who murdered your son.
You know, there's a huge level of misinformation with this generation. It's a TikTok generation. They see a 10-second clip and they think they understand the conflict in the Middle East. In fact, what they're calling, when they're calling for from the river to the sea, they want the elimination of Israel. And Israel is there to stay. Israel is a peace-loving state, and it's looking for partners that will live side by side together. And only then, when the Palestinian will teach their children that they need to live side by side with Israel, they will have their own state. Until then, we need to learn how to do that. People need to educate themselves, understand the conflict, and we will not sit quiet and see those things happen. And I commend, the administration and the representatives that are not accepting anti-Semitism and people calling for the destruction in Israel is an acceptable thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been quite eye-opening how people are so misinformed during this time. You're right. They just see social media posts and sound bites, and it's missing the context here. I mean, you have lost your son because of this terrorist actions that have taken place, and we do pray that his body is returned home. Orna and Ronen, thank you very much for taking time with us here today. Our prayers to you and your family. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for the leadership of President Trump that brought this moment possible. And we're sure hoping that it's going to bring the hostages back in the next few days.
We are,
Absolutely.
indeed.